Sean Combs wants to go to court, but this time he is the one bringing the case.
P. Diddy ringing in the new year with a jailhouse meltdown, at least according to some new reports.
Sean Diddy Combs fighting back against claims he had sex with other celebrities and minors and that it was recorded on video.
They say he traveled from West Virginia to New York just to look at what was inside Combs' jail cell.
But one of the strangest cases involves a Michigan prison inmate.
And he wants a minimum of $50 million in damages.
Explosive new prison footage shows officials rifling through Diddy's cell, raising serious questions about government misconduct. The defense claims this violated his rights, while prosecutors deny any wrongdoing. Could this footage reshape the case? Here's what's unfolding in Diddy's legal battle. Newly surfaced footage from inside Diddy Khan's prison cell has sent shockwaves through the ongoing legal proceedings. The footage, reportedly taken during a contraband sweep at the Metropolitan Detention Center (MDC) in Brooklyn, shows a search of Diddy's personal belongings that could raise significant questions about the government's handling of evidence. The video has reignited debates surrounding Diddy's treatment behind bars and the potential impact on his federal racketeering and speed trafficking case.
Sean Combs' defense team is not slowing down over the holidays. Instead, as their client sits in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, denied bail on multiple occasions by multiple federal judges, the attorneys have filed another motion in support of a hearing. They are alleging that a search done at the MDC by the Bureau of Prisons was actually a ruse to get into Combs' jail cell and dig for information. As a quick reminder, Combs, who is a music mogul, Bad Boy Records founder, producer, and entrepreneur, is facing federal charges out of the Southern District of New York. A grand jury indicted Combs on 3 federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution, all of which he pleaded not guilty to. Combs traveled from his home in Miami to New York back in September, which his defense says was because he was planning to turn himself in, but instead he was arrested and he's been behind bars ever since. According to federal prosecutors, Combs used his money and influence to force people to participate in what has been called freak-offs, which are hours-long sexual performances that involve commercial sex workers, drugs, and camera equipment.
The footage reportedly reveals prison officials rifling through Diddy's cell and handling items marked legal, sparking allegations of misconduct by his defense team. Among the items photographed were notes believed to include trial strategies, witness cross-examination plans, and other privileged information. The defense claims these actions violated Diddy's constitutional rights, arguing that the search was conducted under the guise of a routine contraband sweep, but was in fact aimed at obtaining sensitive legal information.
The defense claims that the Bureau of Prisons investigator, referred to as Investigator 1, copied notes that Combs had written down in his cell, possibly information that was privileged. Now, back in October, there was a raid by federal investigators at the MDC. According to reports, the MDC is notorious for drugs, weapons, and violence. Officials were reportedly looking for any sort of contraband the inmates might have. Now, Combs was questioned and photographs were taken of items in his cell. Now, according to a file from federal prosecutors, the sweep was pre-planned and coordinated to ensure the safety and security of the staff and inmates at the MDC, and was part of a larger safety and security initiative and not in response to any particular threat or intelligence. The MDC sweep, planned well in advance of the defendant's arrest and not conducted to target any particular inmate, included the jail and the warehouse where MDC food and other property are stored. During the MDC sweep, multiple housing units were searched, including the defendant's unit. Although the case team, members of the government responsible for investigating, charging, and trying the present case, were aware in advance that the defendant's housing unit, in addition to other areas of the jail.
Federal prosecutors have denied any wrongdoing, asserting that the search was part of a broader initiative to maintain security within the MDC. They maintained that the items were reviewed by a filter team, an independent group of legal professionals tasked with separating privileged materials from admissible evidence. However, Diddy's attorneys argue that the filter team's protocols were flawed, allowing critical information to fall into the hands of the prosecution.
Diddy is saying that this raid would never should have taken place, and the only reason they raided the place is because Diddy was staying there. The prosecution is looking at Diddy saying, "Have you lost your mind? What's not clicking? Like, are you losing it? Are you okay? Guard, check yourself for Tucci." That's what's going on. But let me read you the latest letter, okay? And then after I read you the latest letter, It's going to be really quick. We're going to get into exactly what this means because, this is not good for Diddy. Okay, so the letter says, "Dear Judge, the government respectfully submits the attached declarations in response to the January 3rd order and further support of its opposition to the defendant's motion for a hearing and other relief. The government has signed a million affidavits saying, we did not plan the MDC raid. No, we didn't leak this to the news. No, we didn't do."
Prosecutors have accused Diddy of attempting to intimidate witnesses by using other inmates' phone-owned accounts to make unauthorized calls. These allegations have further damaged his chances of securing bail with the court, emphasizing his potential risk to the integrity of the legal proceedings. Federal prosecutors are reportedly monitoring his communications closely in preparation for trial.
Prosecutors from the Southern District of New York submitted an opposition brief to Sean Combs' motion for bail that they are hoping that this new judge, in this case, Judge Arun Subramanian, will hear. And as we're going to lay out, prosecutors say not only is Sean Combs not entitled to bail, but essentially he shouldn't even get a hearing on this. And remember, Combs is currently in detention at the Metropolitan Detention Center out in Brooklyn, New York, after being denied bail by other judges. The main issues keeping him locked away are that the courts have held that the prosecutors have shown that he is a danger on the outside, he's a potential flight risk. Most notably was evidence put forward that he had been improperly contacting victims and witnesses in this case. And as we discussed on previous sidebars, Sean Combs' counsel has denied all this. They've indicated that all of those conversations were not done with the intent to engage in witness tampering or obstruction. And even, at least they say, one witness had contacted Combs, not the other way around. Well, the government has come out with new evidence of its own to justify pretrial detention.
In light of the footage, Diddy's defense team has renewed calls for a court hearing to investigate the motivations and procedures behind the search. They allege that the footage corroborates their claims of government overreach and improper handling of evidence. The defense is now pushing for 3 possible remedies: appointing a special master to oversee evidence handling, excluding certain materials from trial, or dismissing the charges altogether.
The defense might have important or pertinent information that needs to be turned over to the prosecution under the rules of discovery, but that information might also be protected by attorney-client privilege. The filter team serves kind of as a middleman. It's a group of prosecutors not involved in the case who sift through the evidence to pick out anything that shouldn't be shared with the prosecuting attorneys and remove or redact that from the discovery material. The prosecution wrote that accusing the Bureau of Prisons investigator of working on behalf of the prosecutors is meritless. The mere fact that a prison official turned over material seized from a detainee's cell to prosecutors after the fact with no prior coordination regarding the seizure does not show that he acted at their behest. In fact, courts have repeatedly held that searches initiated by prison officials, even where those prison officials later turned over evidence seized from those searches to prosecutors, and such evidence was helpful to a prosecution against a defendant, do not implement the Fourth Amendment.
Diddy's defense is expected to argue that any sexual acts in question were consensual, challenging the credibility of the alleged victims by highlighting inconsistencies in their statement. Meanwhile, prosecutors are working to establish coercion or force as key elements of their case. The prosecution is likely to rely on a select group of victims, including Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, who has accused him of prolonged abuse and has video evidence supporting her claims.
This is even more important. Combs' lawyers argue that we need these videos because they prove our client didn't commit the crimes he's charged with. In their letter, they write, quote, "Having reviewed these videos, it is now abundantly clear that they confirm Mr. Combs' innocence and that their full exculpatory value cannot be investigated and used unless they are electronically produced. The 9 videos at issue are the so-called freak-off tapes with victim 1 that the government has repeatedly referenced, causing wild speculation in the media. Contrary to what the government has led this court and the public to believe, the so-called freak-offs were private sexual activity between fully consenting adults in a long-term relationship. Like many Americans in the privacy of their own bedrooms, they sometimes filmed their sexual activity. These videos unambiguously show that the person alleged in the indictment to be victim 1 not only consented, but thoroughly enjoyed herself." And we believe, by the way, victim 1 to be Cassandra Ventura. This is Diddy's ex, who first filed that initial sexual assault lawsuit against Combs back in 2023. She was
Dee Woods, a former member of the chart-topping girl group Danity Kane, has spoken out about her experiences working with music mogul Sha Diddy. Comes in an exclusive interview with ABC News. She described a verbally abusive and predatory work environment during her time under Diddy's management. Her revelations come as Diddy faces federal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, with his trial set to begin in May 2025.
The day we were chosen, I was like, it's bad boy for life, baby.
She says what should have been a dream come true quickly became something else, alleging Diddy created a verbally abusive work environment.
I'm curious why you decided to speak up now.
I would say that this moment now is a time where I feel like my experience, my truth will really be heard and actually considered and believed.
Dee Woods sharing her story as part of a new investigation discovery docuseries, The Fall of Diddy.
From the outside, he was this mogul. He was this guy who, could make your dreams come true.
Unsettling scenes like this, a reminder of what it was like on Making the Band.
Juanita, what's your stomach looking like? For real, are you feeling a little thick?
I always feel thick next to these skinny chicks.
You're like a burger away.
He did it in different ways with all of us. Picking and prodding and just a way to chip and knock away, but then praise you.
I see myself standing in those dark, scary, predatory spaces and hearing somebody say some of the most degrading things to me.
How was it predatory?
Somebody constantly treating you like a piece of meat.
Shan P. Diddy Combs has launched a $50 million defamation lawsuit against Courtney Burgess attorney Ariel Mitchell and News Nation. The lawsuit comes amidst his legal battle against federal charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, for which he has pleaded not guilty. Combs' legal team claims these recent allegations have tarnished his reputation and undermined his right to a fair trial.
Combs has filed his own lawsuit, claiming he's been defamed by a man named Courtney Burgess, Burgess's attorney Ariel Mitchell, and cable news network News Nation, and he wants a minimum of $50 million in damages. And full disclosure here, Ariel Mitchell has appeared as a guest here on Law and Crime a handful of times. Burgess and Mitchell appeared on News Nation on October 31st, 2024, and said Burgess possessed videotapes that showed Sean Combs having sex with other celebrities, some who were minors. Now, to be clear, these are allegations made by Courtney Burgess, and so far, we haven't found reports of anyone else who has viewed these tapes or can verify their contents. Ariel Mitchell has said she has seen screenshots. Burgess and Mitchell claimed that he testified earlier on October 31st in front of the federal grand jury investigating Sean Combs. Again, Combs has denied these claims. And his lawsuit states, defendant Burgess falsely claimed that he possessed videos of Mr. Combs, all 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs. 2 to 3, possibly 3, appeared to be minors, all appeared inebriated, and all, to be honest, were victims of sexual assault. The suit claims Burgess first contacted Mitchell about selling a sex tape that he claimed to have that showed Sean Combs and a male celebrity that he said he received from Sean Combs' late partner and the mother of his 4 children, Kim Porter. Again, Combs is alleging that Burgess's claims regarding the contents of the tapes are false. The lawsuit states, upon information and belief, sometime in or around September 2024, Burgess contacted Mitchell seeking to team up with a lawyer in an attempt to legitimize and/or profit from his outrageous lies. Combs' lawyers claim Burgess has never met Sean Combs or members of his family. But the suit states, nevertheless, Burgess has claimed on multiple occasions that Kim Porter, the mother of 4 children with Mr. Combs who died in 2018, provided him with a copy of her memoir and videos depicting Mr. Combs sexually assaulting. I want to move on now to News Nation's role in this. And they're a news outlet, and they have broad protections, but they also, as a news person myself, you have to do your best to try to verify these claims. What was their responsibility here in investigating this before allowing Courtney Burgess and Ariel Mitchell to make these claims on the air?
Well, Sean Combs says in the lawsuit, and all I know is what the lawsuit says, but the theory why News Nation or the parent company Nexstar Media is responsible is that you, media entity, you not only passed along what was said by Mr. Burgess and Miss Mitchell, but you adopted those statements. You vouched for them. You expanded on those statements in a way that went beyond being neutral and objective. That's the theory from Sean Combs. Whenever people go on TV or radio or internet podcast and make alleged defamatory statements, it's not always the media entity that's always being sued. But here, Sean Combs says you went beyond that. You actually embraced and credited what Sean Combs says are false statements.
For the guards to take him to the hospital so he could be treated, there is this something that we're going to keep an eye on Diddy's mental health behind bars? I think so. And obviously, we haven't seen him, but your colleague Elizabeth has reported that he looks like he's lost some weight. And he has some more gray and white hairs. I think it's taken a toll on him. And I think that he expected for some reason that he would be out on bond. And obviously that hasn't happened. There were 3 different bail applications that were denied by 3 different judges, and ultimately they withdrew their appeal. So now that it's hitting him, that Did is going to be in custody at least until May 20,125, I think, is just having a tough time coming to terms with it. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more updates, and hit that bell so you never miss a thing. Bye guys.